Hey guys, what's up? It's your author, Alex Dry, and I am back with another entry of the Dry Diaries. I hope everyone is having an amazing week. This week's entry is going to be all about love in honor of Valentine's Day being on Friday. So we are going to discuss everything from relationships, breakups, dating, single life. And I actually asked you guys to submit any questions, story times you have. So we're definitely going to get into that. Speaking of love, I just got back from Cabo to celebrate my little sister's wedding. It was so beautiful. She looks stunning. We stayed at the Waldorf. I do have to say the service is top notch, 10 out of 10. If you have any plans to go to Cabo, definitely look into staying there. And if not, then at least go to the restaurant. It is a cliffside ocean view restaurant and the food is amazing, but the views are out of this world. I'm a girl that usually goes to Tulum. I know, typical. So I have to say that Cabo really exceeded my expectations. All that to say, it was a super proud moment seeing her get married and start this new chapter of her life with the guy of her dreams. It's so funny, when we were little, we would always talk about what our wedding would be like, who we would marry. So seeing it all play out was just so surreal, and I couldn't be happier for them. And we love welcoming an Aussie to the family. Speaking of celebrating love, because Valentine's Day is on Friday, I encourage you, whether you are single, married, in a relationship, to do something to celebrate love for yourself, a loved one, or even your friends. It could be as simple as taking time out of your day to do a little meditation, taking a nap. Your girl loves to sleep. I have narcolepsy, so we're all for that. Taking a loved one to dinner, having a girls' night, or even writing somebody a letter or a card. This entry is all about love, so we're in the love mood, so why not share the love? Before we dive into today's entry, obviously a Dry Diaries entry would not be complete without a little investigation. As you guys know, I am a self-deemed CTD, which is a conspiracy theory detective. And don't knock it, because it honestly is a full-time night job. I'm not gonna lie. After starting this podcast, you guys have sent me so many different theories to look into. And so it's taken me on a full deep dive, which has made it hard, because I'm like, which theory should I talk about on today's entry? But I was watching the movie Clueless. That's what led into today's investigation. We're going to be discussing Brittany Murphy and Simon Monjack's death and how it ties into Diddy's circle. So for those of you who don't know Brittany Murphy, she played in some of my personal favorite movies: Clueless, Uptown Girls, 8 Mile, and so many more. She died on December 20th, 2009 at only 32 years old. She was so young. The coroner ruled the official cause of death as natural, which included pneumonia and iron deficiency. This little detail also just raises a few red flags. So the coroner, Ed Winters, was actually the one who did her autopsy, but he also did other stars such as Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Paul Walker, and Kim Porter. He actually passed right before the second autopsy of Kim Porter's death, which was ruled as natural causes as well. Fun little side fact. So Brittany Murphy actually moved into former Britney Spears' house. Britney Spears actually moved out of the house because she claimed that it was haunted by a dark force. It had pushed her down the stairs, and many other things. Fast forward, when Brittany Murphy moved in, some of her friends have come out and claimed that Brittany Murphy did express that she did feel weird in the house and she would try to leave the house as much as possible. People started claiming that maybe this contributed to mold, which led to Britney Spears maybe hallucinating and then contributing to Brittany Murphy's pneumonia. But after running tests on the house, they did not find any crazy toxic levels of mold. Either way, it's a little weird because of Britney Spears' mental state now, which I love Britney Spears, so I'll always stand by Britney Spears, but it is all a little strange. Now we're gonna get into Brittany Murphy's love life. She started dating Ashton Kutcher in 2002 whenever they met on the set of Just Married. They dated a short span of 5 months, but according to Big Gene, P. Diddy's former bodyguard, allegedly Ashton and Brittany were also still involved when he started dating Demi Moore. Brittany Murphy went on to marry Simon Monjack. On the surface, their marriage seemed pretty normal, but the closest friends to Brittany saw a few red flags being raised and a little bit of a darker side to Simon. He had a history of legal trouble, and his controlling nature became more apparent over time. His ex-wife actually came out in the documentary that was released and said that this controlling nature also was something that they dealt with in their previous marriage, which was the control of physical appearance, such as wanting them to lose weight. And that was also a concern raised in his marriage with Brittany Murphy. The other controlling factors that they saw is Simon started driving Brittany to the set of all her movies, and even during breaks on set, she would go sit in his car with them. It was almost as if he was restricting her access to her own life. He changed her phone number, was limiting her communication with friends, and Brittany's friends held an intervention, but by then they thought it was too late, which is so crazy because Tyler Henry, who's a medium, actually did a sit down with Jamie Presley, and in this sit down, Brittany Murphy actually came through, and he said that mentally this feels weird, physically this feels weird, and she's blaming an outside influence, saying that she was in a very manipulative situation, that there was definitely an outside action that was controlling her actions or inactions in certain situations. Fast forwarding only 5 months after Brittany Murphy's death, Simon Monjack, her husband, actually passed away as well. He died of pneumonia and health complications that mirrored what Brittany had gone through. Whether it was a tragic coincidence, they weren't proactive about getting treatment, or they were involved in something more, this just doesn't sit right with me. Which leads me to the fact that it also didn't sit right with Brittany Murphy's father. So he ended up hiring a private investigator and requesting for a second autopsy or a second test done. So they actually tested Brittany's hair and they found high levels of heavy metals commonly associated with rat poisoning. Why wasn't this caught during the initial investigation? Was Brittany poisoned? This is one of the many unanswered questions surrounding her death, and the fact that it was dismissed as natural causes and pneumonia just starts to make you question everything, and this is where the connection with Diddy and his people come in. Over the years, several individuals associated with Diddy have died from pneumonia, and it's really hard to ignore this pattern. So Kim Porter being one of them, which was Diddy's ex, she died from pneumonia in 2018, and just before her death, she was actually working on a memoir that was reportedly going to expose Diddy's inner circle. Allegedly, she sent one of her friends a text right before she passed saying, in quotes, "He got me," which is even more unsettling because if you also look at the connection of Diddy's former bodyguard, Big Homie, he was going to expose Diddy, and he also died of pneumonia. It just leaves me questioning, were Brittany and Kim both victims of something bigger? Some believe that Brittany's past with Ashton and his connections to Diddy may have put her in harm's way. With so many people around Diddy suffering from pneumonia, the theories that these deaths aren't connected isn't so far-fetched. With Diddy's former bodyguard, Big Homie, wanting to expose secrets, and Kim's memoir exposing secrets that probably many wanted to stay hidden, it just makes you question, is this part of a larger plot? Which with Diddy's trial coming up, we obviously don't know if all of this will be exposed. I obviously hope that it does. Side note, speaking of Diddy's trials, so Ellen DeGeneres left the US following the election and moved to the UK. She did say it was a result of the election, but many people question if it was because she was in such close ties to Diddy. And she recently was just deported back to the US from the UK Prime Minister. And many think she has been extradited back to the US to take part in Diddy's trial. Here are my final thoughts. I definitely think that Ellen played a large part in the Diddy situation, so I'm interested to see what will come out in the trial. As far as Brittany Murphy and Kim Porter's death, the connection to pneumonia as well as other people that have died of it around Diddy raises a few red flags. Because of the manipulation and control, I do think Simon Monjack could have been at play here. Maybe his sickness and Brittany's sickness did not get treatment soon enough. Either way, I just want Brittany Murphy's soul to be at rest. She was such an iconic actress and played in some incredible movies, and I think that if she was alive today, she would have been one of the biggest actresses in Hollywood. We miss her. We love her. Her spirit lives on. There's so many people that remember her through even the amount of people who dress up as Clueless for Halloween. She will always be one of my favorites. Now it's time to discuss love, relationships, breakups, and all the story times that you submitted in the Dear Dry Diaries segment. So first question, Dear Dry Diaries, I broke up with my boyfriend over 2 years ago and still can't seem to become myself again. I not only lost friends, I lost a part of who I was in the relationship and can't seem to get it back. I'm having a hard time being me again. Do you have any advice? I just want to say that I actually was having a conversation with a friend earlier about this, and so you are definitely not alone in the way that you feel. It's so common, and I can totally relate with what you're going through. In general, I think as women, we're naturally empathetic people, and in long-term relationships, it's really easy to become codependent on that person. You end up prioritizing your partner's needs over your own. Simple things like saying yes when you mean no, and sometimes changing who you are to fit in with what they expect of you. And then before you know it, you look up and you realize that you've lost touch with parts of yourself, or you get out of the relationship and you realize, who am I? You've lost parts of yourself that you didn't even know you were losing when you were in the relationship. One thing I can say that I've learned is your relationship should enhance your life. It should not define it. A healthy relationship or partner will not require you to lose yourself or forget that you matter too. And honestly, it doesn't even matter if you can't pinpoint exactly when you lost that piece of yourself. It's possible that over time you've emotionally blocked off parts of that relationship because of the trauma it caused, and that's totally okay. Sometimes the key to finding yourself again is unlocking those emotions, whether it's through therapy, self-reflection, writing in your journal, and working through them and letting them go. I know for me, I went through a very similar experience where I felt like I lost a part of myself, or really just changed my priorities to make the relationship better. I spent a lot of time reflecting after that breakup, and I had to ask myself, what did I lose? What did I change? And it wasn't until I started spending more time with myself again and going to therapy that I had those realizations. I wouldn't say I was downplaying who I was, but I didn't feel 100% security in the relationship. So I don't think I was really able to be my full self or give my full self, because I was always on edge of, is this going to work out or not? Post my last relationship, that really helped is I did a lot of self-reflection, but I started stepping into hobbies and passions that I really love that maybe I had pushed aside in the relationship. So that's something I would highly recommend you do, is just reconnecting and doing things that you genuinely love and bring you purpose. Also, surrounding yourself with friends, loved ones, mentors who bring the best version out of you. Just remember, your partner should be someone who brings out the best version of who you already are, and not someone who's trying to reshape you into what they think you should be. Ultimately, I had to take accountability as well and remind myself that I am in charge of my emotions, my happiness, and my sense of self. In a relationship, it's honestly all about balance. It's important to invest in yourself. Start by doing things that bring you the most joy and being around people who make you feel seen and valued, which that's something that I actually struggled with before my relationship and during my relationship, was having friends in my life that made me feel seen and heard and also aligned with who I wanted to become. That has no reflection on them or my ex. That actually is just a true reflection on myself. And it wasn't until after the relationship ended that I really started putting in the work to nurture the friendships that had always been there for me. I think during the relationship, I may have not realized how important it was to prioritize those connections. But once I had the space and did the self-growth that I needed, I was really able to see that and focus on them. I also was beginning to make new friendships that aligned more with the best version of myself and supported the growth that I was going through. It was a reminder that the right people help you evolve into the person you're meant to be. Surrounding yourself with those people that make you feel seen and heard are super important, especially during this time when you're feeling this way. As for the friendships you lost that you mentioned, I think it's totally worth considering whether those connections were meaningful enough to repair. If you think the friendship was valuable, maybe just have an honest conversation with them about where you were at, what was lost, and see if you can rebuild things. But trust me when I say, as someone who has gone through something similar, you will absolutely find yourself again. It takes time and healing. It's still you. It's not gone forever. You were made as you for a reason. It's just maybe been hiding for a little bit. You'll rediscover it on your own timing. If you need anybody to talk to, you can always message me. Please remember, you're a bad bitch. If anyone hasn't told you this, I want to tell you this, that I'm proud of you for doing the self-growth and self-discovery that you need after this breakup. It doesn't matter how much time it's been. Everyone is on their own timing and their own clock. I'm honestly really excited for who you are going to step into and becoming the best version of yourself. And you're probably going to rediscover what you feel is lost, but it's going to be so much more than you thought. Okay, so next question. Dear Dry Diaries, I've been dating my boyfriend for 4 years and I'm at a stage where I'm ready to get married. I'm 34, he's 32. When I bring it up, he brushes it under the rug. Should I give him an ultimatum? So you've been with him a while, you're thinking about future, getting married, and whenever you bring up the conversation, he just changes the subject or moves on. I haven't been in this exact situation, but maybe something a little similar. I did have a conversation with my ex of kind of just a are we on the same page moment. So basically we were going to move in together. And I asked him, if we're living together, then where do you see this going? If there is an intentionality behind it, then maybe we shouldn't move in together, because my whole thought process is if you're making that next step of living together, I want the intentionality behind the relationship to be long-term, which eventually would lead into a marriage. So after that conversation, I don't even think I ever brought marriage up ever, because if he's right for you, you won't need to push that hard. So I think at the end of the day, ultimatums can feel like a lot of pressure and maybe make somebody shut down. What I would recommend is having a calm, honest conversation with him about your desires and intentions without forcing the issue. Be clear about your intentions of marriage, but also listen to his perspective. It could stem from insecurities about other factors, maybe finances or other things he hasn't expressed, but as a partner, he should be open and honest about whatever is holding him back. Remember, you deserve someone who is just as sure about your future as you are. After being in a relationship for 4 years, I think it's completely fair to want a partner who is 100% certain about you and sees a future with you. You're in your early 30s now, so it's not like you're in your early 20s anymore where things can feel more uncertain or casual. At this stage, at least for me personally, I want someone who can confidently say after 4 years, yes, I want to marry you and I really picture that future together. It's about feeling secure and valued in the relationship. If he's constantly brushing that conversation under the rug, for me, it's definitely a red flag. Communication is the key to all relationships, and he should be expressing those concerns to you after being together for so many years. I would say have that sit down, open, honest conversation with him, see what he says, and if there is uncertainty there, then listen to your gut. It never steers you wrong. Ultimately, you want to be with somebody that is 100% down for you and ready to be all in. Okay, next question. Dear Dry Diaries, I met a guy on Bumble about 4 months ago. We've been chatting for a while, but every time we talk about hanging out, he doesn't follow through. What do I do to take things to the next step? Okay, so me personally, to be honest with you, if I've been talking to a guy for 4 months and we talk about hanging out and he doesn't propose a time or date for us to hang out and follow through with it, then I honestly would just move on. But if you really do like this guy, the other thing you can do is we can give him the benefit of the doubt, and I would just say reach out, say, hey, I've really enjoyed getting to know you, chatting, would love to grab lunch on Thursday at 12. And if he follows through and you guys go to lunch, then great. You can see how it goes, see if the vibe's there and where it takes you. If he doesn't answer and kind of nonchalantly moves past it, move on, next, you deserve better. At the end of the day, if I'm chatting with somebody and they don't make definite plans or propose some sort of date or time, then I'm not going to waste my time just doing this small talk back and forth, especially for 4 months. That's a really long time, and your time is valuable. You want a guy who is confident in what he wants and is going to pursue what he wants and goes after it, and that's what you deserve. Do what you want. For me, I would just probably move on, but there's nothing wrong with reaching out and asking him and see what his response is. So story time, I received a message. Basically, there was somebody who was dating a girl and he called her for them to butt dial answer the phone, and he heard them having sex on the other end of the line, which is the way that he caught his girlfriend cheating. Honestly, I have no words for. That's just crazy. But at the same time, maybe God and your angels were looking out for you and she was supposed to butt dial answer that phone call for a reason, because it basically exposed who she truly was, and you would have never found out that she was cheating otherwise. So count it as a blessing. But I'm sorry that happened. That can be really scarring, and no one deserves to be cheated on. You deserve better. Okay, Dear Dry Diaries, my boyfriend and I keep having small arguments that turn into big ones. It starts off with me being mad at him, and he somehow turns it around on me. I'm starting to feel like I'm crazy. What should I do? Am I being gaslighted? Ooh, that is super frustrating. I can totally get why you're feeling like you're crazy. Definitely a classic sign of gaslighting, where he keeps flipping the situation on you and making you question your own feelings. But what I would say is it's totally normal to get upset in relationship. If every argument ends with him making you feel like you're the problem, that's definitely a red flag. A healthy relationship should be about communication and understanding how both sides are feeling, not manipulation and turning the situation around on you, which it's so hard because I feel like we live in a society today where everyone just wants instant gratification, or if there's a fight, just move on. No one is able to put in the work, time, or communication to hear or meet each other where they're at, and him pushing it off on you and making you feel like you're the crazy one, even though you're bringing it to his attention, is just a deflection on the way that he's feeling. And obviously he's not able to confront his own emotions and take accountability. I would say First things first, trust your feelings. If you're mad, you're allowed to be mad. If he keeps turning things around on you, I'd suggest having a calm conversation if you even can. And basically just expressing, hey, I feel like every time we argue, I end up feeling crazy or like I'm in the wrong. I am just trying to express how I feel and allow us to hear each other out and communicate effectively without putting blame on one person or the other. You definitely need to set clear boundaries and let him know that him turning around the situations on you isn't cool. You deserve someone who's going to listen to you and doesn't try to make you second guess yourself all the time. If he keeps doing this, it's time to seriously think about whether this is the kind of relationship that makes you feel valued and loved. For me personally, I know that in my next relationship, I'm looking for a person that is going to be that safe space. They should be the one who gets you, understands you no matter what, and is there to listen to you without judgment. You should feel like when you express your feelings openly, they are going to be that person that hears you out, sees you, and meets you where you're at. It's all about working through things together as a team, no matter what the issue is. And obviously it goes both ways too. You both should feel comfortable enough to talk things through and then support each other in a way that helps you both grow. You should never feel like you're being unheard, dismissed, or manipulated after expressing your feelings. If it continues, then I would break up with him, because at the end of the day, this is going to be a continuing cycle if he's not able to take accountability for what you're bringing up and the feelings that you have. Your feelings are valid, but hearing each other out and working together as a team is the main focus. It shouldn't be one person against another. And so, yeah, babe, you're not crazy. Have a conversation, do what you need to do. And I hope everything works out for the best. Dear Dry Diaries, how do you navigate the struggle of losing your true self by constantly trying to meet the needs of others' expectations? And what should I do to reclaim my sense of self-worth when I am constantly feeling invalidated? Wait, love, this is such a deep and insightful question. I think the key is knowing when and how to set boundaries without changing who you are or compromising what you stand for. You owe it to yourself. If you are constantly trying to adapt to everyone's expectations, one, you're never going to meet those, and two, you're going to lose parts of who you are along that way. And at the end of the day, you're doing a disservice to yourself, but also the gifts and traits that you've been given. Those qualities are there for a reason. And by staying true to them, you're honoring who and what you're meant to be. So I would never let anybody sway you from that, even if things get tough or you have uncomfortable conversations or put in uncomfortable situations. I know for myself, there's been many situations I've been put in where I've had to self-reflect and ask myself, am I handling this situation in the right way? Am I doing this because I'm trying to seek the validation of the people around me? Or am I staying true to who I am and what I believe in and doing what I think is right despite what their expectations of me are? Just remember, the only validation you truly need comes from, for me, it's God, but whatever you believe in and yourself. When people invalidate your feelings, that's a sign that boundaries have not been set, and not everyone is going to understand and support you, and that's totally okay. It doesn't make them bad. It just means that they may not be able to offer the respect and understanding that you deserve. So I think it's super important to protect your energy, protect your peace by recognizing when it's necessary to distance yourself from those people who don't respect your emotions. I've been really big into protecting my peace recently and also setting boundaries, because protecting your peace involves prioritizing self-validation over external approval, and you have to distance yourself from those people who drain your energy. Can you still protect your peace while maintaining important relationships? Yeah, absolutely. You can maintain important relationships by communicating your feelings and setting boundaries, but if someone continuously invalidates you, it's okay to take a step back, because at the end of the day, you have to prioritize yourself and your well-being should come first. Not everyone is going to be capable of meeting you where you're at. And again, that's not a reflection or something that's wrong with them or you. It's just something you have to do for yourself. That is definitely a form of self-love. Protect your peace, set your boundaries, and know the expectations of the relationships around you. I would say that's really big. If you have friendships or relationships that you feel secured and safe to express your feelings, amazing. Keep those ones close. If you have others where you feel invalidated in your emotions, then you know the type of level that relationship is at. I can give you guys a short, brief story. I had a situation that occurred. I was really upset about something and vocalizing the way I was feeling. I was being told, oh, you're being oversensitive, you're being dramatic. One of my friends that was there pulled me aside and said, hey, Alex, let's talk about the way that you're feeling. And he sat down with me and I expressed to him the way that I was feeling, and I was able to vocalize and get that out. I think I may have been internalizing things for quite some time, but just having someone there to talk to and express brought so much healing. Sometimes we just need people to hear the way that we're feeling and just get it out and express it. That's why I think that there's so much power in expressing how you feel and really holding the people that you feel safe around. And you don't know how being a listening ear to someone can bring healing into their life. Okay, so last question. Dear Dry Diaries, what should I do for a first date with a girl that I really like? Should I take her to dinner or do a casual hangout? Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I can't give you the best first date to do because I don't know you guys personally, but from my experience, I think that it is really cute when a guy listens to details and then acts on it without you even knowing that he was paying attention. So for example, if she says that she loves to go to the beach, or there's a restaurant that she really wants to try, then you could play off of that. If she really loves to go to the beach, then you could set up a cute picnic on the beach. If you want it to be more casual, do like a large towel, get some food to go, wine, and set it up that way and surprise her. If there's a restaurant that she has mentioned she really wanted to try, you could tell her, hey, on Friday, be ready at 7 p.m. I'm going to pick you up. Dress this way, depending on the vibe of the restaurant. Then you go make a reservation at the restaurant, pick her up, take her, let her know, I'm taking you to this restaurant. I know you really wanted to try it. And you'd be surprised. It just shows how much you care and that you're listening to the little details. There's nothing more attractive than a guy who pays attention to the little details, is considerate, and then acts on it. So I definitely think those are two good options. But I would just do something that she would enjoy. But the fact that you're even asking about what a good first date would be is so cute and shows that you're considerate. So I think that anything you do, she will love and it will be memorable. I wish you guys the best date, and I'm really excited for you. Okay, guys, that wraps up all of today's questions regarding relationships, dating, boundaries. I didn't get to answer everyone's questions, so I will try to do another entry. But before I end, I do want to give a little recommendation because you guys know that I love conspiracy theories, investigations, and thrillers. So if you guys are interested in that, you need to check out the new show on Hulu. It's called Paradise. I don't want to give away too much, but it's basically about the end of the world, so per se, and they go and establish a underground city or bunker only 25,000 people are allowed in the bunker, and they handpick some of the best people in each different field to go into this bunker. And from there is a corrupt leader and president. There's people that are trying to expose that there actually is life still outside this bunker in the world that many think was lost. Without saying too much, all I have to say, there's definitely innuendos and foreshadowing in this show. If you check it out, let me know your thoughts. I hope everyone has an amazing Valentine's Day and the rest of the week. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment on this episode, follow all socials, The Dry Diaries, and you can submit any of your questions to contact@thedrydiaries.com or www.thedrydiaries.com to be anonymous. I am having one of my favorite people, Deb Chubb. She was on Love Island. We are going to be sitting down discussing all things show, relationships, conspiracies, and more. So don't forget to check out next week's entry. But I will see you guys then. Bye.
This is the Dry Diaries with your author, Alex Dry.